Before we start, please subscribe to the channel, like and leave a comment. When Sormag inherited the throne after his father, the Georgian Aristoves decided that they did not want to serve him. They said, "It is not good for us to serve our own relative. Let's unite and kill Sormag, we will be free, as we were before. We will pay tribute to whoever is the winner. For in such a life we will find peace." They conspired to kill Sormag. Feeling danger, he fled with his mother to the country of his grandfather among the Dzurdzhuks. There he received support from the Asnor Romans and the Ossetian king. Sormag gathered an army and returned to Kartli to defend his crown. After a battle between warriors, he won, conquered Kartli and strengthened his power. But he had no son, so he called from Persia a descendant of Nebroth, from the homeland of his wife, the son of her mother's sister, and adopted him, and his name was Mirvan. Sormag gave him his daughter as a wife, and as a dowry the city of Gokiani and the eristate of Samshvildi. He married his other daughter to the son of Kuji, the son of his father's sister. After Sormag's death, Mirvan Nebrotid became the new ruler, continuing his work. Mirvan was a strong king, his courage and valor were impeccable. During his reign, the Dzurdzhuks ceased to be loyal to their predecessors, Farnavaz and Sormag. They went on the offensive, uniting with the Caucasians from Shartaleti, causing destruction and capturing the inhabitants of Kakidi and Basiliti. Mirvan summoned the Aristoves, the troops of Kartli and all the Caucasians resettled by Sormag, with the exception of the Kartalians who were against him. Mirvan himself led the army and headed to Dzurdzukiti. The Dzurdzhuks took up defensive positions on the passes. Mirvan personally led the attack, bowing like a lion. Despite fierce resistance, the Dzurdzhuks were defeated. Mirvan entered Dzurdzukiti, devastating it. After the victory, Mirvan strengthened the cities and established peace in Kartli. He was a generous ruler, beloved by the people. Under him, the reign of Antiochus in Babylon ended. At the same time, a man reigned in Armenia, whose name was Arshak. Mirvan came to an agreement with Arshak and gave his daughter to Arshak's son. His name was also Arshak. After the death of Mirvan, the throne was taken by his son, Parnajam. King Parnajam Nebrotid actively developed construction in all fortified cities, erected the Zadini fortress and created the Zadini idol in this city. He also began to build the city of Nelkari in Kakidi, which later became known as Nakrisi. However, King Parnajam came to love the Persian faith and fire worship. He called firemen and magicians from Persia, settled them in Mskita, where he openly ridiculed the Kartlian idols. This caused indignation among the residents of Kartli, who preferred to worship idols. Many Georgian Aristoves conspired and turned to the Armenian king with a request to change the ruler. "Give us your son Arshak, who is married to a woman from the clan of Parnavazids, our kings. Give us your army to help us and we will force Parnajam, who introduced a new faith into Kartli, to flee. Let your son Arshak be our king, and let his wife, the daughter of our kings, be our queen." The Armenian king willingly agreed and sent his son Arshak along with the army to Kartli. Most of the Aristoves renounced Parnajam and accepted Arshak as the new king. Parnajam gathered the Persian army and loyal Georgians in his defense, but his Armenian and Georgian opponents were able to unite and met him in the Battle of Tashur. In this battle, Parnajam was defeated and killed, his army was destroyed. The baby Mirvan, son of Parnajam, was taken with him by his pestin and taken to Persia, and Arshak was restored to the throne of Kartli. Arshakid sat on the royal throne and took possession of all of Kartli, and he reigned calmly. He multiplied all the fortifications of Kartli and the fences in Javakidi, in the city of Tsunda. Arshak died and his son Artag reigned. King Artag reigned for only 2 years. In the second year of his reign, the Persian Aritavs, rulers of the regions, came with a large army to avenge the blood of Parnajam and the Persian army, which was exterminated along with Parnajam. Artag, the king of the Georgians, could not resist them, since the Persian forces were great. The Persians went around all of Kartli and devastated the valleys, but they could not take a single fortress because they had previously been fortified. Artag died and Bartam sat on the throne in his place. King Bartam Arshakid strengthened the defense of Mskita and fortresses throughout Kartli. At this time, the Persians raised Parnajam's son, Mirvan Nebrotid, who, after the death of Parnajam, was taken in by his adoptive father. Mirvan was a brave warrior who repeatedly demonstrated his abilities in battles with the Turks and Arabs. Mirvan gathered a powerful army in Persia and headed to Kartli, sending envoys to the Aristoves with an offer of peace. He reminded them of the virtues of his grandfather Mirvan and declared his devotion to the faith of his fathers. However, the Aristoves of Kartli did not listen to Mirvan and joined Bartam. Only a small number of Georgians supported Mirvan. King Bartam gathered troops of Georgians and Armenians and also received help from Armenia to meet Mirvan at Hanani. Mirvan came and began the battle near the Berduji River. The battle continued daily for a month, and Mirvan personally killed 13 Georgian and Armenian warriors. None of the opponents could defeat him. Then Bartom went against Mirvan with an army, and in a fierce battle, in which many warriors on both sides died, Mirvan won. Bartom was killed, and his daughter, his only offspring, fled to Armenia and there gave birth to a son named Adurki. After the death of Bartom, Mirvan entered Kartli, conquering the entire country. He promised the Eristavs freedom, and they left the fortress. Mirvan married Bartom's wife and took the throne in Skita. He reigned quietly for a short time. After his death, his son Arshak ascended the throne. King Arshak II was Arshakid on his mother's side and Nebrutid and Parnavazid on his father's side. He completed the construction of the city of Nekrisi in Kakiti and strengthened the Uplistsyke fortress. Arshak was tall and strong. Adurki, the son of Kartam and the daughter of King Bartom, was brought up in Armenia. He was handsome and enormous in stature. Adurki was tested in numerous battles of the Armenians and Assyrians, where he defeated many giants and won glory. Adurki turned to the king of the Armenians for help for his restoration to the throne of Kartli. The king provided him with an army. Adurki went against his uncle, the king of the Georgians Arshak. Arshak gathered an army of Persians and met Adurki in Trialeti Valley. Both troops positioned themselves next to each other. Arshak invited Adurki to fight alone, and both warriors agreed. They fought with spears, then with butts, but could not defeat each other. The battle ended in a draw, and both were rested. The next day they met again and fought with bows. Adurki hit Arshak in the chest with an arrow, and he fell from his horse. After this, Adurki turned to the Armenian army and convinced them not to attack the Georgians. Then he came close to the Georgian army and called out to him in a loud voice, "I am the son of your kings, and my fate has given me the kingdom. Now accept blessings and joys from me. You see, I don't allow the Armenian army to reach you." Then the Georgians answered him, "You turned out to be the best of all the descendants of Farnavaz. Since our king has died, from now on you will be king over us, and we thank our fate. For in return for our king we have been given a descendant of our kings, an illustrious and heroic hero," declaring himself the new king. The Georgians recognized Adurki as their ruler and bowed to him.